Today's video I will be discussing the basic tools and supplies for applying decals to your model. Every model is different when it comes to decals, from cars to planes to boats. The decals sometimes are what will make or break the finished product. Practice makes perfect. Although I've been building 40 years and I'm still a far cry from perfect. So if I make a mistake in this video, I won't edit it out. I'll either try and fix my mistake, or I'll just drag the hammer out, smash it, and move on. And now some of you are hoping and praying that I make a mistake. Thanks for the vote of confidence. The first thing you'll need when applying models is some sort of a dish to keep your water in. And I choose to use lukewarm water. It helps the decal to separate from the sheet a little bit better. You don't want to get it too hot, and don't want the decal to separate too quick and end up losing it in your dish. The second thing you'll need would be some sort of a cutting mat to lay on your work surface to protect the surface from any damage when you're trimming your decals out. The next thing you need was, I like to use number 11 extra sharp knife blade to trim my decals out. Of course, you can use scissors if you like. It's just a little harder to see exactly where you're trimming or close to the decal. I found this little pair in the cosmetic section at Walgreens, and they work really good for trimming your decals when if you don't want to use your number 11 knife. Next thing is, it's always handy to have a nice little pile of Q-tips to help dry up some of the moisture from the decal. And then you always want to have some napkins or maybe some paper towels handy just to dry up the excess water. The first step you want to do is you want to make sure, I chose Revell's number 24 Chase Elliott Napa Chevrolet as my victim today for the decals. The first thing you want to do is to make sure your model is clear and free of any debris or dirt prior to applying your decal. And next, you take your number 11 knife, and some people follow what the directions say. I just kind of go with it when I apply my decals. You would pick out your choice of decal that you want to put on. For this one, I think I'll go with I've already applied the roof decal, but for this one, I think I'll go with the driver's side door decal. And the best thing you can do is take your number 11 knife and try and trim as close to the edge of the decal as possible without damaging the actual decal. One of the things I've learned too is to be very careful. They always have their trademarks down at the bottom of your decals, and they're basically a decal too. If you don't trim those off before you dip it in the water, then they separate from the decal, and they will end up getting mixed up in the decal you're trying to apply. Of course, I guess I forgot two important tools to mention too. Another one is a pair of tweezers. Again, I like the bent nose tweezers. They work great for holding on to the decal or picking it up out of the water. And of course, don't forget the hammer, just in case we need that here in a few minutes. I got the hammer. What I like to do is, on my larger decals, I like to take them and just go ahead and lay them in, and they'll normally curl up on you when you lay them in the water. And you just got to kind of get down in there and try and lay it out. Give the water time to soak into the decal and the backing, and then it'll eventually lay down semi-flat for you. Well, we're waiting on that to set. Always try and keep your decal sheet as far away as possible from your water when you're working, so that you don't drip any water coming off this decal onto your sheet and possibly ruin your decals. Our next step would be to go ahead and get our car ready. And like I said, it might be boats, planes, trucks. They're all different. I think we're about ready here. Just kind of pull it out and gently try and move it with your finger. If you see that it starts to move a little bit, then you would take it and apply it to your model. These NASCAR models are probably some of the most complicated ones to apply decals to. They usually are huge sheets, and the decals are massive. This particular decal here has a hole in it for another decal that applies on top of it, and it is pretty complicated. You just have to gently try and work it off of the backing without ripping the decal. Alright, there we go. So now we've got it on. It has a small hole lined up there to apply a second decal. And I'm a little off the mark. Look forwards there a bit. Once you get it where you want it, once you get the decal about where you want it, that's about where it needs to be. Then I like to take my paper towel and gently dab at the decal to get most of the excess water off. And this is where your Q-tips will come into play. I like to take my first couple of Q-tips and just go down along the edges and try and rub any of the air bubbles out that you see underneath to get a smooth surface under the decal. So far, it's laid down fairly smooth, no dirt underneath the decal. A lot of times with some of these decals, if by chance you do lay your decal on and you notice a speck of dirt underneath of the decal, if you're really gentle, you can take your number 11 knife and kind of roll the decal over. And take you a Q-tip or a napkin and wipe that dirt out from underneath there. Around this particular model has some curves into it where the decal doesn't. I don't use a lot of decal setting solution. A lot of people out there really like them. It helps to soften the decal up so that it'll bend around curves. I don't really use the decal setting solution. I just go with what the instructions call for. Again, I don't build to impress anyone. I build my models to impress me and to collect them. So if it turns out something I think I'm going to enter in a competition and I win a trophy or an award, then that's just a bonus to me. Once you get it rubbed down, try to rub all your air bubbles out from underneath. Get it rubbed down. The most important step after this is to leave it alone. Once you get it rubbed down where you want it, take a break. Maybe have another project handy to work on, or in my case, I've got that big monitor in the background. While I'm waiting on this decal to dry, I'll spy on my neighbors for a little bit, see what's going on over there. But once you get it set where you want it and rubbed down and all your air bubbles out, best thing to do is just to set it off to the side and let that decal dry. It takes maybe half hour or so is what I normally do. Once I've got it where I want it, I'll give it about a half an hour before I get on here and try and apply any more decals so I don't screw up the ones that I've just put on. Hopefully you will find this helpful when applying decals to your model. And I apologize to those of you who thought we was going to use the hammer, but I was confident it wasn't going to happen today. Thank you again for watching.